Kabaka Mwanga II. A name whispered in reverence, a name etched in the heart of Buganda. He was the lion, the king, the last bastion of a fading era. Buganda in the late 19th century, a kingdom shimmering on the shores of Lake Victoria, was a land of rolling hills, fertile lands, and ancient traditions. Mwanga, young and proud, ascended to the throne. He inherited a kingdom at a crossroads, a kingdom on the brink. The winds of change blew from distant lands. European powers, hungry for land and riches, cast long shadows over Africa. Their ambitions threatened to consume everything in their path. Buganda, with its strategic location and abundant resources, was a prize coveted by many. But Mwanga would not yield easily. He would stand as a bulwark against this tide, a defender of his people's way of life. Mwanga's reign was one of turmoil and defiance. He was a king caught between two worlds, the old and the new, the familiar and the foreign. His every decision carried the weight of his ancestors and the hopes of his people. With the whispers of the wind came the words of a new God. Christian missionaries, armed with Bibles and promises of salvation, arrived in Buganda. They preached a gospel of love and forgiveness, but their arrival sowed seeds of discord. The missionaries, with their alien beliefs and customs, challenged the very fabric of Bugandan society. Their presence was a disruption, an unwelcome intrusion into a world governed by ancient spirits and the wisdom of ancestors. The missionaries found converts among the Baganda, drawn to their message of hope and equality. But this newfound faith created a rift within the kingdom, dividing families and communities. Mwanga observed this growing influence with suspicion. He saw the missionaries as a threat, not only to his authority, but also to the spiritual heart of his kingdom. The old ways, the traditions passed down through generations, were the bedrock of Buganda's identity. To abandon them, Mwanga believed, was to surrender the very soul of his kingdom. The drums of war beat softly in the distance. Mwanga felt the weight of his ancestors pressing down on him, urging him to act. He was torn. He had embraced some aspects of westernization, recognizing the need to modernize his army and administration, but he refused to compromise on matters of faith and tradition. He saw the growing Christian presence as a direct challenge to his authority, a threat to the delicate balance of power in Buganda. The missionaries' insistence on conversion, their condemnation of Buganda's traditional beliefs, fueled Mwanga's anger and fear. He felt the spirits of his ancestors stirring, urging him to defend their legacy. He would not be a puppet king, dancing to the tune of foreign powers. He was the Kabaka, the Lion of Buganda, and he would roar. His defiance, though.
This video was proudly sponsored by One Browser. Don't miss out. One Browser is the must-have tool of 2024. Try it now. The link is in the description below.
Came at a cost. His resistance to the missionaries and their powerful European backers ignited tensions within his own court. Section 4. The Confrontation. Mwanga's patience wore thin. He saw his authority being eroded, his kingdom teetering on the precipice of chaos. He decided to act. He ordered the killing of Christian converts, a brutal attempt to quell the foreign faith and reassert his control. The blood of the martyrs, however, only served to strengthen the resolve of the Christians. Mwanga found himself increasingly isolated. His once loyal chiefs, some swayed by the missionaries' promises, turned against him. Buganda, once a beacon of unity, was now fractured, consumed by suspicion and fear. The kingdom descended into chaos, a whirlwind of intrigue and betrayal. Mwanga, betrayed by those he trusted, was forced to flee his palace, seeking refuge in the remote corners of his kingdom. He became a fugitive, a king in exile, but his spirit remained unbroken. Section 5. Betrayal and Exile. Betrayal cut deep. Mwanga, stripped of his power and dignity, was captured and handed over to the British. He had become a pawn in their game, a bargaining chip in their scramble for Africa. Exiled to Seychelles, far from the land he loved, Mwanga never surrendered his claim to the throne. He plotted his return, clinging to the hope of restoring Buganda to its former glory. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Mwanga, the once mighty Lion of Buganda, died in exile, his dreams of reclaiming his throne unfulfilled. His death marked the end of an era, the extinguishing of Buganda's independence. His resistance, though ultimately unsuccessful, became a symbol of defiance, an inspiration for future generations fighting for freedom and self-determination. Section 6. The Legacy of a King. Mwanga's story is a tragedy, a tale of courage and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. He is remembered as a king who dared to defy the encroaching forces of colonialism, a ruler who fought to preserve the soul of his kingdom. Though his reign was marked by turmoil and bloodshed, his legacy is one of resistance, a testament to the enduring spirit of the Baganda people. Kabaka Mwanga II, the last defender of Buganda, may have lost his throne, but he secured his place in history as a symbol of African resistance. His name, whispered on the wind, serves as a reminder that even in defeat, the spirit of freedom can endure.